Hi Flosstube, I'm Lori and welcome to Once Upon a Stitch. Today is Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. It is my 124th video. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and if you're a subscriber, I'm so glad that you come back and visit with me. I'm going to tell you a little bit what happened this morning. It's a little after 11 now. I'm supposed to be at the library by 12. Well, I'm going to be late. But what happened was I did the whole video and I forgot to share an important piece. And I know how to do a little video at the end and add it. But because I did a section on quilting, and maybe not everybody will watch it, they might not find out the important information that I had at the very end. And I wanted to make sure everybody knew that. And I could have put it in the drop down, but I think it's important enough that I redo the whole video. It was over an hour. I will try to maybe not have it so long. But I do want to share with you a lot of information today. And I'm going to start with, I don't have any fully finished pieces new, but I wanted to share something with you. I didn't do these, I forgot to look up the designer, if it was Country Cottage or Little House Needleworks. It's the alphabet, the different season alphabets. And this is summer. And I had winter up, and I do have the spring pattern that Kathy from To Dye House shared with me. And I realized I have to get stitching on that. So that being said, I decided to take Christmas down and just go right into summer. But I couldn't find the bow that went here or the piece that I had. So I found a bow that had a magnet. But I don't know if you can tell, this magnet are polar opposites, and it won't, and I want to share this with you. It won't stay on. I don't know how to say this stuff. It won't, it'll go to the side, to the bottom, but it won't, here's the magnet up here. It won't go right where the magnet is. But I liked the bow, so I said, oh, let me see if I still have the fabric or ribbon, and I did. And I made sure that this magnet goes right on that magnet. I'm just straightening it out. And this is a covered button that I actually used the ribbon from here. And it fit, just barely, but it fit. And so now I can hang this one up. And the ribbon that I originally made it for, and what I'm trying to show you in this is make sure that your magnets are not polar and that they repel each other, but they actually stick together. And this is the Lori Holt Stitchy Stars. And I kind of finished it with patriotic theme with navy blue rickrack. And I don't remember where I got this board, if it was the Target dollar spot or the, I think I got it at the dollar store. It's really thin, but either place. And this was last year that I got it. And this is on with magnets as well. And sheet metal. Sheet metal. In case you didn't know what sheet metal was, we got it at the hardware store, like Home Depot, and Sal gave me the piece and some cutters, and I just cut pieces when I need it. Excuse me while I go put this on the other table. Okay, updates. So the last time we were together was the end of April. I still had a couple of days, I think 5 days left of April. And so I have 2 more pieces that I stitched, no, 3. 2 for 2 days each, and then 1 that I just put in 1 day. It was an extra day in the month somehow. Maybe I finished something and moved everything up. So I'm going to show you that. But the last Saturday of April, we went to Needleworkers Delight. It was the last day of their store being a brick and mortar store for a while. Their lease ran out. They did not renew it because I heard it was almost I don't know, it went up a lot of money. And they decided not to renew the lease and to look for another place. But in the meantime, they moved everything into a warehouse. They're still doing business online through Etsy and Facebook, I believe. I know they do videos Thursdays and Fridays. I don't know if it changes every week, but they put out Facebook videos of what's on sale, and I guess they'll do mail order for now until they find another place and set it up and are ready to be a brick and mortar again. Excuse me. They are coming to our New Jersey Stitch retreat in July. They'll have a pop-up store there. So I'm looking forward to seeing them there and seeing what new stuff they have and fabrics that they have. And that was Saturday. And then Sunday, the last Sunday in April, I attended a fashion show that my cousin, she lives in a different town. She belongs to the women's club of that town, and they sponsor these different things like fashion show. Sometimes they do tickets to a play, to a local playhouse. So this was the fashion show, and they put on, Chico's was the clothes that they modeled. They, actually the people that are part of that committee are the models, and they modeled their clothes. And they gave you, if you went to the store, they gave you a discount, I think, for I don't know how long. You just had to mention that you attended the fashion show. And then they had a little luncheon. And then we had like a tricky tray. I told you I went to the tricky tray at Rebecca's school. So it was something similar to that. They had gifts. They had little baskets. You put your tickets in the basket. You buy your tickets, then you put them in the basket. So I got lucky again. I won a 8-cup food processor by Cuisinart, and I won a Cuisinart ice cream maker. And it's funny because I knew what I won, but I couldn't remember the words food processor. I said, what is that thing called? I knew it, and it was just not coming to me. I pictured it in my mind. So I know it's downstairs in my dining room. So I said, oh, I don't want to go down. So I go downstairs. I'm walking through the kitchen, going almost to the dining room, and I say to myself, food processor. I looked at it, and right on the box, it said food processor. So it came back upstairs. I did that in the first video to get myself prepared. So anyway, that's what happens when you get to be my age. You just don't remember. The words just don't come as easily as they used to. So anyway, so I got lucky and won those 2 gifts, and I was very, very excited. 2 weeks ago, I had a library meetup, and then after that, I had a Zoom meetup with Dena, the half-stitch cross-stitcher, and my friend Dee Abrams. The 3 of us went over our cross sticks for May and what we were going to work on. And it was a lot of fun. It was fun catching up with Dena. I do see Dee a little bit more often, but it's always fun. She has such a wonderful personality. I always tell her she should do Flosstubes. She'd have you in stitches in more ways than one. But anyway, we had a lovely meetup. Oh, and I want to thank Christine. She was the winner of the giveaway that I had on the Beckleberry sampler. And she wrote me a lovely thank you card, and she included Classic Colorworks Cayenne. And I don't know if she remembered or like if she had this in mind, but I was making a list. I was kitting up some projects, and one of the projects I was kitting up was Live on Little. Ever since I saw Kindred Stitcher Lisa stitch on it, I just fell in love with it. It was an exclusive for a retreat that she attended, and by Plum Street, not the Plum Street retreat, the pattern. I think the retreat was in the Amana colonies, and it was by the farm girl. And once she showed that, I just really fell in love with that pattern. And I told her, I said, when that pattern comes out, I'm going to be the first person to buy that pattern. Well, I ordered it through my LNS, and needless to say, I don't know, it took over 6 months for me to get it. And then I love the pattern. I'm going to stitch it, but I almost was upset that I had to wait so much, and I put it aside. But I pulled it out to kit it now, and I decided to make a list of what I needed that I didn't have. And one of the colors it called for was Cayenne by Classic Colorworks. And I don't know if you realize that or not, Christine, but thank you so much. I will definitely be using that now. I will be kitting it up. let's see, Mother's Day just passed. I hope everybody who celebrates Mother's Day had a very lovely one. We were over at Michael and Rebecca's. We had a lovely dinner, lunch dinner, late lunch, early dinner, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you to them for hosting. It was lovely. Alrighty, so that's all the chit chat in the beginning. I'm going to share with you what I've stitched on in April, the 3 projects, and then we'll go right into May. Okay, the first one, this was gifted to me by my friend Kelly, and it is called Fall Festival, and I'm up to the last block in it. This is what it looked like when it's all put together. And this is, oh, this is number 1. This is this house, but I'm working on this house. And it came with all the called for silks. Kelly was kind enough to gift this to me. And I didn't get in as much as I wanted to, but I made progress just the same. This, on my Whipco board, is for a finish. I think this was, I don't know if you remember, I said there were 5 patterns that I wanted to finish by July 1st, and I believe this was one of them. So I stitched on this in April. I'm hoping to, if I can stitch on it in May and June, then I should finish it. But if I don't get it into May, then I don't know if I can finish it in June. In my 2-day rotation, like, you know, somebody would say, well, just stitch on it another day. But that just defeats my purpose of a 2-day rotation. So since you last saw it, I finished this block entirely. I think, I'm not exactly sure what was left, but I know the bottom border was not completed. I think I had to add something in the middle, but I know I had to put the leaves here, and then I started this block. And these 2 little piece squares, rectangles. These 2 rectangles are the chimneys of the house. So just like this one. So that's where I've gotten to so far. Almost done. One more block to do. And you'll see this again. This is stitched on a 28 count desert khaki. It's a beautiful piece of fabric. Let me show it to you from a distance. Yeah, and I have room to do something else down there, so I was very happy with this piece. Yeah. So you will see this, oh, that's what I was saying. I don't have it scheduled for the acrostics that I'm stitching on because it just didn't work out that I could use anything in this. But if I have extra days, I'm hoping to get some stitching on this in May. Because June, I'd like to see that finished. Oops, don't lose your threads. The next one that I worked on in April, oh, it's all tangled here now, is a long dog, and it's called Queen's Gambit. No, Opening Gambit. Queen's Gambit is the movie. Opening Gambit by Long Dog. And I had just a little bit of this, I don't know, we'd call it a dragon, of his head done, and just maybe 2 lines of his wing. So I did some work in that block. Finished that dragon. And I did the hand. Isn't that cool? I love that. Then I'm trying to say, is this a bird with a very long beak, or is that an animal with a gun? I'm hoping it's just a bird with a very long beak. Anyway, she's going to be holding some pawns from the chessboard, which is that bottom. There are 3 pages across, so I'm not exactly sure on here where it's cut off, but there's 3 pages. I have to figure out how to stitch in 2023, and then I have to be committed to to finishing it this year. So my goal for WIPGO was 4 pages. So far I've gotten 2 pages done. And this is what it looks like so far. So I finished 5 and 6, and I came to 7. So I guess it's about here, the page, and then it goes down because the pawns come down here. And then 2 more. So I have this page and 1 more to finish for the WIPGO challenge. So I think by the end of the year I can finish this. But I love working on it. I really do. And I love, you know, the fact of that it's the white and black, and some things pop in the white background and some things pop with the black stitching. So I'm really enjoying that. That's for my son Michael. And then I put in 1 day, but I think I made some good progress in the 1 day. This is Stony Creek, Oh Holy Night, Nativity, and I started here. I don't know if I told you the last time. You know, I worked this border to be like 3 inches from the top. I forgot about the wing of this bird going above it. So when I get there, I'll stitch it in and then see how much room I have above it to finish. It'll be a while before I get there. This is being stitched on a 25 count Niagara Blue Lugana. It's a big piece of fabric. Okay, finished the shepherd. And I finished the sheep. I think the sheep has 1 more leg behind this gentleman's cloak. But I didn't do any of the back stitching yet. So I think the next time I pick it up, I might do some of his cloak to make some progress, and then go back and start doing some of the outlining, because I know there is a lot of outlining in every single person item that's in this pattern. So the only thing I'm always concerned about are the faces, you know, the eyes or the nose, the eyebrows, whatever they have. But we'll do our best. And yeah, so 1 long piece of fabric. Hopefully I don't need the whole piece, but for now I'm keeping it on. You can see how I roll it up in the Q snap. But yeah, I was happy with the 1 day progress that I did on this one. And again, 25 count Lugana, Niagara Blue. Okay, then it came May. And in our stitching group, we have challenges. And for the May challenge, it was Tonia's turn to pick. And she loves Halloween. So she said, stitch on something for Halloween. I'm not a big Halloween person, but I told you that eventually I want to look for this metal tree that people have been showing on their videos. I think they said they got it from Hirschner's. And I'm not in no rush because I don't have enough to fill it yet. But, you know, maybe for the different holidays, I can hang little ornaments on that. So I said, okay, I can do fun trick-or-treat ornaments. So I decided to choose Country Cottage Samplings. And I'm going to do them individually as round finishes. And I started with this pumpkin guy. I just thought he was the cutest thing. And I stitched this on, it looks like an 18 count Ada, but there was no name to it. I don't know if it's Dirty Ada, Milk Chocolate, Taupe. I don't know what color this is, but I like it. I should have moved it over a little bit more. I don't know if I put it in a Q-snap. Maybe that's why, you know, it comes in more. But if I used probably a tension hoop, I could have, or I could maybe have put another one there. So I'll get another 1 or 2 on this piece of fabric, but then I must have hit it with the iron where the label was, and now I got the glue on there, but I can work around it. So I'll pick another, when I have to do Halloween stitching again, I'll pick another one and finish it into a round ornament as well. So that was a finish. Got a few finishes this month, I have to say. This was my, what I call my car project. Car meaning my husband drives, I stitched. And this one was Arlene, oh, patterns on the back. Arlene Gurick Needlework Designs Hand Blessings, and it's called Spring Silhouette Bunny Baby and Mama. This is a bumblebee, and it's supposed to come with the bumblebee charm in every package. But one of the other one that I bought, I forgot the name of it, Bunny and an Egg or something, it didn't have it in. But they had like a charm hanging somewhere, and they said, oh, just take this one. Well, I took it. I don't know where I put it now. But it didn't have anywhere of anyhow to stitch it on. There was no loop to stitch it on. And I almost like said to myself, why are they even selling these things? Because there's nothing to hold it on in place. Anyway, I decided to leave them off. So this is that one. I stitched it on a green fabric with green thread. And I left out the border. I did my own just cross stitch border. It's a beautiful border. I just didn't want it that big. And the one before it I showed you was, I did blue on blue, so I did green on green this time. So those are the two finishes that I had. Well, one this month. I think the blue one was April. Okay. Then I picked up this new pattern. I shared the pattern with you. And it is called I Stitch Designs, called Sew in Love. Sew spelling S-E-W. But I don't see anything that represents something sewing, really. But anyway, we got the word love in here. We have a date and an alphabet. So what happened was, this, looking at this, I probably would have never bought this pattern. Seeing it finished in a little pillow, well, it wasn't that little, but a pillow, I really liked it. So I purchased, this is Sulky. I purchased this red Sulky, and it was number 712. And I was going to do one strand of this. And then I also bought, or if I had, I don't remember, Karen water lilies in silk in the Dilac Cardinal. And so what I did was I did a little test on it. I did the Sulky, and then I did one thread of the water lilies and then 2 threads. And I decided to do 2 threads with Karen water lilies. And I did this on, I believe it's a 16 count Aida. And I finished. So the only thing I changed was the date to 2023. And I think it's adorable. I'll make it into a little pillow most likely. Just want to get the right backing and finishing like around the pillow, so it doesn't clash with the reds. Okay. And then I pulled out Luminous Fiber Arts Gathering Clover. Oh, I didn't share with you. The magazine monthly challenge word this month was borealis. So I used this for the bee and bird. And then I used the Sew in Love, which I just showed you, for the L in borealis. And that was that one. And then for the 24-hour acrostic, the words were winging it, a lot of I's. So I use Sew in Love in for the I, and Gathering Clover for the G, and Trick or Treat, that pumpkin for the T in it, winging it. Okay, so this was the next one I picked up, and I stitched this with Weeks Dye Works Monkey Grass. And I started this at retreat last July, and I hadn't picked it up in a long while, till this year. And I put a little bit in, and then a little bit in, and then I finally finished it. So I have 2 of them done, Gathering Strawberries and Gathering Clover. And I have enough fabric if I do any more gathering. Was it Acorns was the next one? So I didn't finish them because I wanted to do something similar in finishing. So I figured if I have them together, when I'm working on it, it should be easier. Okay. I had notes on this the last time. Oops. The last video when I did this earlier, and I want to make sure I tell you it all. I do not read instructions, which I probably should. But what I found out almost when I was finishing this, like I think I had from here over to complete the alphabet to finish this pattern. And it's called Jardin Privé's Gentleman's Quaker, as you can see. And they have a matching ladies Quaker. So I stitched the dog in, did everything just as you see here. And then when I got, the pattern was in 2 sections, the top and then the bottom. But when I got the bottom, I think it cut it off around his knees. I think it was his knees that then came to the bottom, so that you can line your project up. What I didn't notice until I got to working across here was this dog. If you didn't want to stitch that dog, you can stitch an urn of flowers. That was like an additional thing that they gave you with this pattern. But one of the reasons I liked this pattern so much was for that dog. So, you know, you live and learn. Then the other thing that I noticed when I was stitching this, that this bottom alphabet, R-S-T-U-W, there's no V in the alphabet. There's a V up here, but there's none here. I guess she ran out of space and decided if she had to leave a letter out, she was going to leave the V. Is there a V in the French alphabet? I don't know. I don't know if that was the reasoning behind it. I just thought of that. And then I checked Ladies Quaker, and hers also is missing a V. So if there's anybody who speaks French out there, and if that's the reasoning why the V could have been left out, but it wasn't left out on the upper alphabet. I don't know. Anyway, I have another finish. Gentleman's Quaker is completed. And I love it. I used the 2 call for colors, which was, I believe, not 931 and black. I can't remember if I used Anchor Black, I think I used. And when I look at the Ladies Quaker, the accompanying piece, the red that was used, I think it was a variegated red, deeper red. I don't want the red to be like, this blue is kind of subtle, and I want to get a red that's subtle. I don't know if I can explain what I mean, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. I don't want it to stand out like red and black. I want the red to be a little bit more muted than, and it looks like, this is a very small picture, my notes. The red is variegated. I don't want to do a variegated either. So when we get to that one, we'll We'll figure it out. Okay. Then I worked on Little House Needleworks Kringles. And my goal for Whippo, excuse me, was this row of rooms and the Kringle sign. You can't see it in here, but there's a snowflake on either side of these Kringle, the banner. So I had started the banner the last time we were together, and I finished the banner, and I put in the two snowflakes. Let me see if I double it up. Yeah, you can see that. There you go. There's the snowflakes. It didn't show in the last video. And I had from the L, E, and S that I had to complete the banner or name, and then the other snowflake. And then I dropped down and started to do the bottom border of the rooms. There's going to be 2 more rooms here, and then this is the door to get into the store. And I think I decided that I was going to, here's the piece so far. This is stitched on a 28 count Springfield Sage Lugana. And I think I'm going to work on the door section first and then go to the 2 rooms. I know it's different, so I think I want to do something different. And I have to say that Dena, half stitch, cross stitch, she started this, I believe, in December last year. And she said she wanted to have it finished for this year of Christmas. So my goal was only to finish that row of rooms and the banner. And then I was going to put it aside and say, I'll do the rest next year. But she kind of like gave me the incentive of, well, if she's going to stitch it for Christmas, maybe I can get it done for Christmas. Always love a challenge, right? Gives you something to work forward to. Okay, I don't know if I picked this up prior to this year at all. I don't remember. It was the Scarlet House, A Perfect World. And I know a lot of people stop after the grass. They don't want to do full coverage back here. But I think that was what drew me to this pattern so much. So I will be doing the whole pattern. It's going to take me a while, but I will get there. I still have to finish the top trees and whatnot, but I made a dent in it. So what I stitched on this time was one of these trees. I think it was this one. I think I had that one in. Or this one. I can't remember, but it was one of these trees that I put in. I put in this flowers, and I put in the dog, finished all the grass across, and I started the bottom black border. So what's also in here that I haven't done yet is there's 2 birds, and they're over 1. I haven't decided on that. There's more trees here and deer that I haven't done either. But I was happy that I got the grass completed. And there was a dog in here. But I was so into, when I was stitching the grass, I was so into it, I just kept going and I missed the dog totally. So that being said, why is there, oh, I just realized that. Okay, it shows on camera. There's a solid line of a color going across. That's why that stitch is hanging. I'm like, why is that stitch hanging down like that? But there's a row of a color that goes straight across before the black is put in. So I still have some trees up here, birds, a deer. So I don't know in which direction I'm going to go to. But I have to say that if you see this plant here in this urn, there's a white stitch at each one of them as well. So I put in all the red flowers, and then I went back to do the leaves. And then I realized, you see how the top stitch is offset by 1? I didn't offset it when I first stitched it. I put them all under, so they were over, and it was too close. They didn't have any space for the leaves without it butting it up. So I had to take all the flowers out not this one, but these down here, and then restitch them all. And I put that little doggy in. Okay, so that's where I've gotten to. This is a 28 count Lugana in the Heritage. Okay, and then this was a stitch that I was stitching at my library group. I didn't go last week, but when I go, and I don't know if I'm bringing it today because I'm going late and I don't know how much I'll get done, but it's called Hello Spring and it's by Blushing Pink Stitches. Lindsay's her name. She has an Etsy store and you can get a, she lives in England, so you can get a PDF download from her. And this is how far I've gotten on it. Let's see if I can put a piece of paper behind it. There you go. I got the SP and R. So I have it. This is the tulip with the flowers. These are just stripes, but these are Easter eggs. They're actually stitched with 3 by 9 square rectangles, and then when you come in on the corners with the outlining, it makes them look like Easter eggs. So that's really cute. So this might be in timeout for just a little while, but it's kitted, so I can always pick it up. And that's everything that I've been working on as far as my stitching. A little bit of haul. Move the chair a little bit closer. I feel like I'm falling off from getting up and sitting down. This is a 25 count Lugana in the colorway khaki. Then I saw Carol Saltbox Stitchers, I think she finished this, called Remember Me by Scattered Seed Samplings. I thought that was pretty. And I think I don't know if it's black or blue, the roses, a very dark blue. It's all done in DMC. So I don't know, I really like that. Then I purchased some buttons. Buttons. Let's see. Some Christmas buttons. Red, white, and blue, and red and green. A watermelon. Figure on some pillows, I could always add like a little something. And these are from Puntini. I think they're so cute. They're coffee beans and coffee pot and mugs and cups. I just thought it was adorable. So I love that. Then I showed this, I think, in my last video that I had purchased, this Mirabilia, the Peony Garden. And I thought it was so pretty. So I brought it back to Needleworkers to find what I needed for it as far as water lily, Karen water lilies. And I only found one. So I'll have to probably order through on 1, 2, 3 stitch. But maybe I'll order like 1 or 2 at a time, not to have a very big order. And this one is called Flamingo. And yeah. And then let me show you these. These are the beads that it called for. And what I liked about it was it didn't have too many beads. I was watching Stitching Fae, Heidi. She did a 2-part Mirabilia. At the second one, I had notes. I was writing down like what I wanted, and then she would mention a tip of how she did certain things, and I'd write that down because I don't want to forget it, which is downstairs, and I can't even share it because I forgot it. But, oh, you have to watch her videos if you love Mirabilias. I mean, they're just gorgeous, and she has so many started. I mean, I have Elizabeth started, and when I pick it up, I'm always afraid, like, can I remember where I left off? So, but I do enjoy working on them, and I love them. And then I found one, of course it had to be out of print, one that I absolutely loved. It was called Under the Friendship Tree. 2 little girls, I guess it was a tree, had a border. And I thought it was a bench at first, but when I looked up closer, it's grass on the bottom, and it was just gorgeous. But I'm not going to spend $70 on, you know, secondhand market to pay. You know, if I find it at a store, if you go to your store and if you have a L&S and they should happen to have it, like nobody bought it, let me know. I'll call them up and I'll order it myself. But yeah, I really like that one. And there was other ones that I liked, and she was doing, which is available, cherry blossom, I believe. But there were so many beads in there. Like when I looked it up, it had, oh, I don't know how many sets of beads that I said, oh, that's too much for me. But it was a pretty, the Mirabilia is right. And then I watched somebody else and I can't forget it, can't remember it. I will talk about it in the next video, because I don't want to just put it in the drop down without giving her credit, because she was lovely too. She did Mirabilia videos. Okay. My friend Dee shared some patterns with me. Some of them I'm going to be stitching, and some of them I'll eventually share with you. So in no particular order, the first one was Rosie and Me Winter Walk. So cute with a little Scotty. I know there's a few people that have Scotties. This is Abby Rose, the Flower Gatherer. I love this. Love it. It says, happy the woman who can find constant resources in her own mind. Isn't that cute? I think that's adorable. I love that. Country Cottage Needleworks, Snowflakes Serenade. Little House Needleworks, The Farmer's Daughter. Alessandra Adelaide Needleworks, Halloween Tree. There's a little like pumpkin face in the tree too. I don't know if you caught it. Barbara Anna Designs, Haunted House. And this one, I definitely, I mean, I will be stitching this because this was a memory from when I was very, very little. I watched The Wizard of Oz all the time. And I remember even once being ill in bed and my father sitting next to me on a chair, and we were watching it together. And it was The Wizard of Oz. So the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and the Cowardly Lion and Dorothy. And the best part about this, Pam from Just Keep Stitching, she's stitching all the characters for Stephanie. And I think the first row was all of these characters, and then she's doing other characters like the witches and the monkeys, and it was coming out really gorgeous. And then she's going to do the wizard, and then his castle at the top, the what's that castle called? The green emerald castle, anyway, you know what I mean. She's stitching it and it's coming out gorgeous. But what I thought was awesome about this, do you see what that says? Once Upon a Stitch. It was made for me. So thank you, Dee, very, very much. Very, very much. Between Dee and my friend Alva, who also gives me patterns, I love sharing them after I stitch them, or if I'm not going to stitch them. I love sharing them with you. Okay, so I don't know if I mentioned it earlier when I started this video, but I'm doing something a little bit different in this video. I'm doing a showcase designer section. And I'm doing this because this designer happens to be a very good friend of mine. And that's Arlene Cohen from Works by ABC. And some of the patterns I don't have because I did stitch them and then I gave them away. So the first one is that I shown, and I gave it away, it was either 2 videos ago, and it was called Band Sampler Born in 1604. And she did it, I believe, in purple and green, I want to say. But this is just to show, I wish I had the pattern so I could show you the difference, that you can choose any colors you want. And I found this banding at Needleworker's Delight, like red and green for Christmas. So I decided to use those colors. And Arlene happened to be at Needleworkers when I was buying this banding, and she helped me by counting the row, the stitches to see that it would fit in here. And I think this was an 18 count. And that's a lot of heavy stitching. And I was very happy with doing it. And if you buy a banding that has color, not just white on the side, the only tip that I'm going to give you is when you fold up, if you do a V finish, make sure you fold the color section that will be behind a color, because I had tried to drop it down and you saw right through it. And since it's not lined, I just thought I'd share that tip with you. And I just put a little tassel at the end, and then I could hang it. Okay, the next one I completed was, which I gave the pattern away also, is Flowers by 1650. And that's the finish on it, and I finished it myself. Actually, this came all together and it just happened to match. So I just left the matting. But I have to say that Needleworkers sometimes had a stitching Saturday that you can go and stitch and chat with other stitchers. So I was there, and there was a young man, he's younger than me, stitching. I believe his name is Brian. And I was just saying in general, like, I don't know how I'm going to tack this border, because if you see, the border's 2 different colors. And I was fairly new stitcher, because this was stitched, I guess it was finished in 2018. I'm not sure when I started it. But I didn't want it to show behind the white fabric. So I was saying, how am I going to, make it work so that it doesn't show? And the best tip a person's given me, one of them, was whatever you do, just be consistent, because then it won't show different than in other areas. So I thought that was a good tip, that when you're working borders, be consistent and it won't stand out as seen behind the fabric or anything. So love that piece. Okay, then I think I'm going to show this a little different than I did in my first video. I'm going to show the pattern first. Arlene was in Just Cross Stitch magazine, the Christmas ornament edition, the 2020. That's the cover. This is her pattern, and it's called Golden Filigree, and it was stitched with, I believe, Rainbow Gallery, a Rainbow Petite Treasure braid. And this is the pattern, the finished pillow that Arlene made, and I really liked it, but I didn't want to do it with the Rainbow Gallery threads. So I had just finished this from Rosewood Manor, and I believe this was called Christmas Blues. And just finished it with some iridescent rickrack and a blue background. So I said, I want to make something, use colors that will complement this. So this is what I did with Arlene's, and I just love it. I love this pattern. So just because something's done in a certain color, sometimes you think out of the box and look how beautiful. Not that I'm going to take credit, but I really love this. And it's the iridescent rickrack, and it's on the same color background. So these are the two that complement each other. And I just finished another one from this book that has to be finished, fully finished. Okay. The next one is 6 pages from 1603. And as you can see, they look like tiles put together. And I didn't want to stitch the whole thing, but I did want to do something that I could maybe put on my Christmas tree. So I selected this one because I don't know if those were flowers. I never asked Arlene, or if they're really pears, but they look like pears to me. So I decided to do green pears. And this is my finish on that. So the pattern's like this. I decided to finish it like this. But it's the stitching that, and I used a variegated green thread, and I love it. Some ivy leaf fabric in the back. So Arlene's patterns are really good. She does a lot of geometrics, and they're really good for picking your own colors, I think. The next one is the Renaissance Band Sampler. And this is it. I just want to see what the stitch count is, and this is covering. It's 42 wide by 311 long. Now, this is not 40, was it 42? Maybe. I bought a piece of banding. I'm not sure if it's going to, I didn't count it, I don't think. But here's like white on white, so I could use any color that I want to stitch. I could use variegated thread. I can stitch part of it. I had purchased a yard of this, 14 counts, Weigart banding. Let's see, can you see? Here you go. Future project. I purchased her snowflake pattern. My friend Tonya stitched the entire thing, and it was gorgeous, gorgeous. I decided that I want to make another ornament for the tree, and I did a round one. And what I did was I like stopped at these squares and diamonds here. And I used a variegated, I don't remember, I didn't write it down. I didn't write it down here. I probably wrote it down somewhere when I was working on it. But I think it came out really beautiful, color-wise. Yeah, on this dark, looks like 18 count fabric, Ada. Yeah, love that. Then I stitched this, but I gave it away to my daughter-in-law, Amy. She's Jewish, and they celebrate both Hanukkah and Christmas. So I stitched this one, and I made it into a little pillow, and I don't know if they haven't put up a tree that year because they have a cat, and he was afraid the cat would knock down all the ornaments. And I also have the Hanukkah star. I've used this a couple of times, and I have my graph paper in the back of how I stitched it. But anyway, it's the alphabet sampler, and you don't have to do it as an alphabet sampler. What I did was I took our last name, S, and I did Michael and Rebecca, M and R, and O for their dog Ozzy, and I put a year in there. And I did it in red, because that was his favorite color. I'm assuming it still is. I don't know. And then I did it again for James and Amy, and I did his in green because it was his favorite color. And I put the year in. And I think I did it again when Caleb was born, but I don't think I did it again when Gianna was born. I made them different ornaments or something. Or I made it just for the kids, I can't remember. But she has the alphabet in different fonts. She has it in lowercase. So you could use this as just as a sample to put onto something else. So I love that. I picked this up. This was from last August. It wasn't Market, it was called something else, but where designers would go online, and was it just, I think stores would then go online and purchase from them. It was all done online. And this was one of the patterns that came out for that. What's it called? Stained glass flowers, crocus, tulips, and periwinkles. And they're all stitched using a toile. I've never used a toile, but when I do, I will definitely share my experience with you. She did it, Arlene stitched this on a 32 count fabric, white. I think she said it was white. And the background was also stitched. I don't know if you can tell because it's a photograph, but I saw them in person. So you could see how shiny and sparkly they were. and she did it on a white piece of fabric that was 32. So I bought a 16 count Ada, and this is from Zweigart Artiste. I got this at Hobby Lobby. So and this is for our June challenge, which I was in charge of selecting the theme, and the theme was, I Googled it actually, and I said, you know, what's June known for besides Father's Day, Flag Day? And they said that June is actually the midpoint of the growing season. Vegetables, flowers, growing season. So I decided that our group should stitch on something that had flowers or something that grows, like trees or... So I will be starting that in June, as well as going to put some more work into my flea market flowers, I'm hoping. Okay, next one. These are her new releases from Market. And this is called Sevenfold. Again, something that you can change colors with. You can take parts of it, like the center, and make it an ornament. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work. This is Symmetrical Squares from 1603. You could do it like this. You can stitch it long like that, and you can wrap it around a spool. You can do it on different size fabric. Let's see, does it say what she used? She used 27 count banding that was 3.1 inches wide over 2 threads using 2 strands of color or sulky 12 weight, either one. And she did a very like, I don't know how you call this, for going from dark to light, but different threads to achieve that. You can do it all in one color. You can do them in larger count fabrics. She shows you she made a scissor fob. Let's see, does it say how much each? No, doesn't say how much each little box is, how many stitches are in there. I'd have to open it and count it, but so that's that one. Again, any color you want. Then she came up with this, which was so brilliant. Nesting dolls done on perforated paper. There's instructions inside, and it comes with perforated paper. And actually, she did a video on all her new releases, and she shows you these, and she speaks about them and how she puts them together, and then she has some instructions in here, she said. So love that, Nesting Dolls. And it comes with the perforated paper. And then the last pattern that I love, isn't this gorgeous? Exquisite lace. Look at those roses. Oh my gosh. And if you don't want to stitch the whole thing, wouldn't that rose be gorgeous on its own? This was stitched with Flosh thread, white. Let's see, on 14 count or 28, it would be like 14.7 by 23.7. On a 40 count or 20, it would be 10.3 by 16.6. I think that is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Now, I had said that I had left out the most important thing. And the most important thing about this designer showcase is that Arlene is having a 15% discount on her Etsy shop. She will send you either a PDF if you're interested, or a hard copy. I think the sale started yesterday. I believe it's going through to the 31st of this month. And you don't have to have a code or anything. I think she just put it in herself that everything is on sale. So if you're interested, go check out her Etsy store, 15% off. That's awesome. So that being said, I have quilting left. I know a lot of you are not quilters, or maybe you want to stick around and hear. I know a few people said they wanted to start, and they thought that the quilt that I put together for Gianna was not that difficult. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Now, where did I put my notes? Oh, it's probably here. I'm going to try and wing it because I think I remember. Okay, if you're not interested, thank you so much for sticking by me this today, and I hope you enjoyed everything I shared, and give me a thumbs up. Come back again next time. See what I stitched then. Take care, guys. Love you. For those of you who are still with me, I'm going to talk about quilting. Let's see if I move you up just a tad. It's easier with quilts to stand. I took my first quilting class. It was Learn to Quilt by Hand. And we had this book as our guide. It's the sampler quilt, just like samplers in cross stitch. They also have samplers where each block was a different pattern. And you know, you can just do 4 and make it a wall hanging. We were taught 6 out of the book. And here's a little more. You know, using different colors of the time that this was made. Oh, there's some more. You can make pillows. You could do 1. I think each square was 12 inches. So you could make pillows, blue and red. So anyway, this was a good book to learn the different techniques of hand piecing. So from that, I made a quilt. I don't know where that one is right now, but then I enjoyed quilting so much that I decided that I was going to do a second quilt. And I'm sorry that you hear my phone in the other room, but my husband's not there to answer it, and I'm not going to stop a video to go answer a phone call again. So each block was different. This was the fan block. It was all pieced by hand. So this was the technique of a curve. This was the Ohio Star. I don't think I remember all the names of these. This was the Ohio Star. This is the Dresden Plate. And with this one and Grandmother's Flower Garden, what we did was we pieced the center pieces. Then we hand stitched that to the backing of this white background. Then we flipped it and trimmed away to about 1/4 inch all the way around so that you didn't have, once you put this on your backing, you didn't have another layer between this one, the background, the batting, and the back. So you cut around that inside so that when you're quilting it, it's not as difficult to needle quilt. This one, I don't remember what this was called. And then this had something to do with bumblebees. I don't remember that one. I mean, I could look it up in the book, but I didn't. Then we learned how to do sashing with corner sets, and then the binding. And one tip for the binding that I don't always follow is when you do your top and bottom binding or your side bindings, you measure your quilt in the middle of the quilt, because sometimes the edges could be a little bit longer. So you measure the center. This is what we were taught. And then whatever that is, you make your binding that length. And then if it's off 1/4 inch or so, you kind of like tug it a little bit so that it fits. Instead of trying to make it longer, then it makes the quilt hang like askew, I guess is the word. So anyway, that was my second one. And this was all quilted by hand. You can see some of the quilting on the back here. So that was that's when I felt that I had better control than I still feel I have better control, but I don't have the time to do hand quilting because now I don't just do quilting. So my friend Adele, at the last time I was at the library, she brought in some books that a friend was cleaning her house. And this was another sampler book, but this one's called Quilter's Almanac. And it has different blocks in here as well, that if I wanted to do another sampler block quilt, or just take one and repeat it over and over and over again in the quilt, you know, you can do that as well. So so between the two of these, you can do a sampler quilt, or you can just do one block and do it over and over again and put stashing between it. And so anyway, that was a great piece to incorporate into my repertoire of quilts. Anyway, this is the quilt that I finished for Gianna. I quilted it since the last time we were together, and I attached the binding and stitched the binding on all the way around. And this was Little Women by Riley Blake Designs. Horwath, Jane Horwath, I forget her first name. There was a piece of paper that I had here earlier, but it's a Riley Blake and it's called Little Women. And I got it at the Fat Quarter Shop. The only suggestion, if you want to do something like this, these were 2 charm packs that I used, and I bought a yard of fabric for the backing. I would have bought 1.5 yards, and that's so that I can use it for the binding as well. When I went back on to buy that extra 1/2 yard, they were sold out. So just in case you're looking to do something like this and you want to buy backing fabric to match, I would suggest 1.5 yards so that you can do the binding as well. So what I did was, there are 42 blocks that come in a, I hear the ringing out there, it's causing my brain to get off the track. There's 42 not jelly roll. Oh. The 5-inch squares that you buy. I forget what they're called right now. And I used 2 packages. And let's see. So what I did was I opened the package. I laid out what I thought was a pleasing design for me. And basically, I mean, if you look at it, it looks like a diagonal. You know, the greens, the blues, the peaches, and then there wasn't that many of the reds, or what I'll call reds, and then peaches, green, peaches, blue, down to the peach, darker peach. There weren't many of those, but there were, so I used, 7 wide by 9 long, because I'm using this in a crib, and it's just about the perfect size. You are left with 21 extra blocks. You can do 9 more down the side and make it wider. You can do 3 rows of 7 and use all of them. I don't know how it would have played out if I did the diagonals like charm packs. That's what they are. They're 5-inch charm packs. I don't know how it would have played out with the leftover, if it would fit in the diagonals. So I just did what I thought worked for me. And so I quilted it about 1/2 inch away from the seam lines on both sides, and vertically and horizontally. And then I attached a binding, which I would have used this backing fabric with. But this peach binding actually works very well. It matches this lighter fabric color, and it works with a lot of the colors inside the. Gianna's supposed to sleep over on Saturday, so we'll see if she'll use her new quilt. Last time they brought one that I made for her. They brought one so that she could have it, and she used it. I was like shocked. It made me feel nice. James sent me a picture a couple of nights ago, and she had like 3 or 4 of the quilts that I made her all on her, sitting there looking at them. Anyway, the last thing I'm going to share with you is that I got my new fabric from the Fat Quarter Shop that I told you that I joined, the monthly Fat Quarter bundle. And this is called Sunnyside. This is the May. And I love those fabrics. I love blue. And then, you know, you can almost make it, well, it has a lot of flowers, but it has geometrics as well. These are some of the fabrics that if I wanted to look up online for backing or something, I could, the numbers are right there. So love it. And I have to say that I love the quality of their fabrics. It's beautiful. I love working with them from the ones that I've worked with so far. So I'm very happy with it. So I will be continuing that. Alrighty. That's it. Just a little bit over an hour. I hope I said everything I needed to say. And I think I did. So with that being said, have a great rest of the month. I will either be with you on, let's see, I think maybe the 1st or 2nd of June. I forget when May ends. I think that ends on a Wednesday. I babysit, so either Thursday or Friday that week, I will make my next video, show you what I've been stitching on. I don't think I'll have anything finished. Maybe. But, let's see. I'm going to try and fully finish some stuff. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I have to eventually start finishing things. And it's like my bigger pieces, I need my husband, because I have to go through I'm going to lay everything out on the dining room table and then see what frames I have that I can possibly use, whether they need to be cut down or sprayed. And I mean, when I think about some of the projects that I finished that are just sitting, I get angry with myself. So yeah, I'm hoping this summer to make a big push on a lot of them, but maybe 1 or 2 here and there would be helpful. All right. It's been so wonderful being with you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for visiting. And I hope you come back next time. See what I've been up to. Bye, guys. Love you. Mwah.